All right, guys, good morning and happy first day of summer for those of you at home with the kiddos. I hope you're hanging in there. Now, today we are going to get some miles in one of the only remaining Nike training shoes that I have not tried, the Nike Zoom Structure 25. Now, a lot of us hobby joggers out here, we go for the Pegasus, we go for the Vomero, we go for the soft, bouncy Invincible. However, the elites aren't always picking the same fun, comfortable shoes as us. Some of them, like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, are going for what's in this box here. And I was scrolling on one of the forums and I saw somebody asking, what's that shoe that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is wearing in this video? And it turned out to be the Zoom Structure 25. And I had this in the box just waiting for the perfect time to try it. So today, first day of summer, baby, we are going to get some miles in Jakob Ingebrigtsen's favorite daily trainer. Let's do it. So the Nike Zoom Structure 25 is Nike's stability shoe, Air Zoom Structure 25. I have it in a 10.5. I have not tried Nike stability shoes. I've not tried a lot of the brand stability shoes, but I'm now trying to do that. So this is going to be the second true stability shoe we're trying. We did the Puma Forever on Nitro. Let us open up this bad boy and see how it, ooh, look at this. Bang. They actually gave us a really nice colorway here. Look at this. Boom. So we got the blue, we got the green. This is a sharp looking shoe. Now, the key differences between this and something like the Pegasus or the Vomero are that this has much more support built into it. So you can see around the back here, we have this plastic heel clip. It extends all the way from the heel through to the midfoot. And then on the inside, they have what's called the midfoot support system, NSRL. I actually don't know what that stands for. Nike Support Real Life. I'm not sure, but we do have the midfoot support system to hold the foot in place. And that's one of the things I found interesting about Jakob Ingebrigtsen wearing this in that video and using the shoe as his daily trainer in general. I'm guessing he's not a huge overpronator. He's one of the fastest athletes in the world, but something about the shoe might be maybe a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to run in than some of the other shoes. That's one of the questions we'll be answering today. What is the big draw of the shoe? Why is Jakob Ingebrigtsen wearing it versus something like the Vomero 17, which is my favorite training shoe in the Nike lineup? So if you look at these two together, you can actually see they've kept some similar elements of the design system here, just with how this poke or this point pokes out in the back and that dual layer. In the case of the Vomero here, you have the ZoomX on the top. In the case of the Zoom Structure 25, you have the plastic piece on the top. But similar feeling, looking shoes, but the foam in the Zoom Structure 25 is a little bit different. This is Cushlon 3.0, 100% of the way through, versus the Vomero 17, you have the Cushlon, and then you have the top layer of ZoomX. So theoretically, Zoom Structure 25 should feel like just a little bit more of a built up, maybe a little bit firmer of a Vomero. Maybe that's why Jakob Ingebrigtsen likes it. Maybe he just likes a firmer feeling shoe. And with his training paces likely being for everyday miles, I'm guessing in the 6-minute range, probably 6 flat to 6:30. I'm sure he's on Strava. I could look it up. But with those being his training paces, maybe this firmer structured feel is a little bit more ideal for that. Now, if we head down to the bottom here, and not that durability matters for a guy like Jakob Ingebrigtsen who can just get free shoes from Nike left and right, but we do get a nice thick layer of rubber here. The outsole on the bottom of this guy actually looks identical to the one that we see on the Pegasus 39 and 40. Only key differences are out in the back here. They did something a tiny bit different with the heel rubber. And then I am noticing that the Zoom Structure 25 is a little bit wider on the heel, which will provide some inherent stability back there. Yeah, you can see that just wider around the heel should be a more stable feel than the Pegasus 39 and 40. Now heading up to the upper, let's take out this little insert here. But lots of padding around the back. Also, nice and stiff, sturdy, structured heel counter around here. It's not super floppy, not super flexible. Again, that should hold the heel in place, so we're not over pronating or over supinating. Either way, we're not going left, we're not going right. This should give a planted feel. One thing that's interesting is the midfoot seems a little bit narrower than some other shoes out here, not necessarily compared to the Nike lineup, but just compared to how some other shoes are fitting. And then let's take a look at the top here. Yeah, it looks like it has that classic Nike toe box. So one of the issues with some traditional Nike shoes like the Zoom Structure 25 is that these are not always the widest shoes, and with a lot of us hobby joggers gravitating towards a little bit more comfort-oriented uppers, we'll have to see how this does, but Nike's one of the brands that's been going with some tighter, narrower toe boxes. I do have to say, that's an issue that they fixed in the Vomero 17. It looks like the Vomero has a little bit of a wider upper here, wider toe box than the Zoom Structure 25, but we'll get this guy on foot in a second to see whether or not that is true. And the last thing with this bad boy, we do have the Air Zoom unit that's similar to the Pegasus. The Nike Peg also has that Air Zoom unit in the forefoot. Boom, Air Zoom. So we'll have to see how that influences or changes the ride. For me, I can't feel that Air Zoom unit a ton. It tends to just give the forefoot a little bit more structure to it so that you're not getting just foam, but it's not going to give you as much snap or speed assistance as a plate or as a high energy return foam like a Zoom X. So we'll have to see how that does. Now, that is an overview of the Zoom Structure 25. Let's get this thing on the scale, because as a stability shoe, it is going to be carrying a little bit more weight due to the structure and supportive pieces built into it versus more neutral shoes like the Pegasus and Vomero, but only the scale will tell us whether or not that's true. Alright guys, so popping the Zoom Structure 25, Jakob Ingebrigtsen's favorite training shoe, on the scale here, coming in at 320 grams. That is a little bit on the heavier side for a training shoe versus some others in the category, but let's see. Let's take a look at it. Vomero 17, yeah, 303 grams, so this one is a little bit lighter. Pegasus, bang, 287, 286 grams, so this one's also a little bit lighter. Then Invincible, Max Cushion, this guy's coming in at 301 grams. So this is the shoe that a lot of people enjoy for training, for everyday miles, for some faster stuff. Really fun, really bouncy, but I'm guessing compared to a shoe like the Structure 25 here, this is probably going to feel just a little bit more normal, a little bit easier to run, and not so out of control bouncy like we get from the Invincible 3. So while it's heavier, maybe we'll get some more benefit of stability and structure and ease of running for some relaxed miles. So with that, guys, let's get this thing on foot, lace it up, see how it feels, and then we can take it out for some miles. All right, let's throw the other one on real quick. Hold up. QA check. 318.5 for the right shoe. That is really solid. Within only 1 to 2 grams of a difference. That is good QA from Nike. These are probably made in Vietnam. Let's see. I actually think Nike makes them in China still. No, made in Vietnam. Okay, that's how you know it's high quality, if it's made in Vietnam. Also, apparently this is made with at least 20% recycled content. So I think that means Jakob Ingebrigtsen supports the environment too. That's great. Seems like a great guy. So lacing up the Nike Zoom Structure 25 here. Wow, very padded tongue. Very padded tongue. And very structured piece around the back here. This is similar to the Puma Forever Run Nitro. That was the last stability shoe I ran in, and it felt very stable and sturdy around the heel piece. And I think that's a trend, or just a theme with these stability shoes, that heel piece versus neutral shoes. Because this is my second true stability shoe that I'm running in. Both of these felt really just locked down in the heel, and I guess that's kind of the point, right? So you're not turning from side to side. But I'm not sure that I quite love that feeling back here. It's a little bit odd. But step-in feel, comfortable for sure. I'm not getting a ton of soft squish from the foam, but I do think that they have a nice little sock liner here, so I can feel that just immediate soft step in. But the foam itself, as I'm trying to compress it a little bit, does feel a touch firm compared to what I'm used to running in. But let's lace up the right guy here, and then we can see. Bada boom, bada bang. All right. Just trying to feel out the toe box a little bit. So I actually think the toe box is okay. I don't think it's as narrow as the Pegasus, at least the Pegasus 39. Oh wow, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. I also don't think it's as, maybe it's not as wide as the Vomero. I'm not sure. Could be similar. It is a different material though than the Vomero, so that might be throwing me off a little bit. And by the way, I like this colorway a lot with the lime green and the blue. It's slick. Let's do a little walk test. All right, so underfoot, walking here, the foam actually feels really nice. It's in that sweet spot of not too soft, not too firm. We'll see if that holds up running. But this is a shoe that I could definitely walk around all day in. I do have to say, it feels like it's hugging my heel a little bit tighter than I would like. That's similar to the Forever Run Nitro, and I can use a little bit extra support and stability sometimes, particularly on my left side. That's why I like shoes like the Nova Blast 4, Convara Pro, but I don't always love having this much stability built in. For example, yesterday I ran the Rebel V4. That's a really natural feeling shoe to run in, nice and flexible, not a ton of stability elements other than a wider base. So we'll have to see how this does out there on the run. Plan for today, we're going to do a nice 45 minutes to an hour 15 around here, probably around 8 miles. Just stretch the legs. I'm easing back into training. I'm not exactly sure what's coming next for me. We do have Chicago in October, so that's on the horizon, but I'm deciding right now whether I want to do a 12-week or an 18-week plan. Let me know. If you guys have any thoughts on a 12 versus 18-week plan, let me know. As you guys know, my endurance, my aerobic base is strong. That's my strong suit right now, so I'm not sure if I need to do an 18-week plan. Maybe I'll just do the 12-week plan and do something else fun in the meantime. If you have any thoughts on that and how to decide between 12 versus 18, let me know. Other than that, I'll see you guys after this run, baby. Let's get into it. Alright, so easing into the run here in the Zoom Structure 25, Ingebrigtsen's favorite running shoe. And right away I can tell you this has a nice little pep to it. It doesn't sink down as much as the Invincible or the Vomero. Feels like I get more of a bounce back right away. I'm feeling a lot of grip. Like this has just thick rubber lugs, which I think it does. This is something I felt in the Pegasus as well. So I'm gonna warm up into the run. I'll report back after a mile or two. See you in a bit. All right, we just hit mile 1. This is a nice shoe. It's like a Pegasus combined with a Vomero, which makes sense. Also beautiful flowers here. Look at those blue ones. It's like cotton candy. Try not to get hit by a car. Thank you. But yeah, it has the geometry, feel, stack height general vibe of the Pegasus, but with a little bit more of that built up upper heel area of the Vomero, plus the same foam as the Vomero, that Cushlon. So I'm enjoying it. There's no weirdness at all, which is something I look for in shoes, in normal training shoes. I do like some weirdness sometimes, like Nova Blast 4, that feels really built up, tons of foam. But this feels so far like a simple shoe with some added stability. Now I can feel that tightness around the heel still, so we'll see how that changes as we get into the run. So I will report back around the halfway mark. See you then. Jakob Ingebrigtsen. 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 All right, we're about to hit mile 4 here, and I didn't look at the specs. I don't remember them off the top of my head. It's probably somewhere between 33 and 36 in the back. It doesn't feel super cushioned, which is nice sometimes running in a simpler running shoe, but it does have that classic high drop feeling of Nike shoes. And what I mean is that the heel feels a lot more stacked than the forefoot, and I can feel some ground feel coming through in the forefoot, similar to the Vomero, similar to the Pegasus. And that's just the classic Nike setup. You're gonna have a little bit more of that contact in the front. You feel a little bit more connected than in other training shoes. But it's nice because a lot of the market is going towards these giant marshmallowy, pillowy stacks. And Nike hasn't even done that even in the Invincible 3. That was exactly 4 right there. Nike hasn't even done that in the Invincible, which still feels pretty connected in the forefoot. So that's something new that I've picked up on. I also can feel a little bit of that solid airbag under my toes, similar to the Pegasus. And that's a feeling that I don't love. I prefer the soft ZoomX feeling from the Vomero. But overall, pretty good so far. Cruising at about a 7:45 pace. I'm tired this morning. Life is just tiring sometimes. With the kids, traveling, it's nice to get out here and hit some miles. But I will see you at mile 8, unless I have anything else to say. But let's just enjoy the beautiful scenery. Let me catch my breath, and then I'll see you back home. Mark. Alright, mile 6, I had to flip this back on because I just had a thought come into my mind. This is like the anti-invincible. It's the invincible that nobody asked for, that nobody wants, but that everybody needs. A little bit of that firmer foam, more stability, and honestly just as fun when picking up the pace here. Look at this. It really comes alive when I step on the gas. So I can see why Jakob Ingebrigtsen really loves this shoe. It's fun, it has a nice bounce to it, nice snap, and it's decently comfortable. So I'm cresting a huge hill here. I'll actually get back to you at mile 8. All right guys, just finished our 8. Boom. Usually would have liked to get 12 on a nice Tuesday morning like this, but we're facing some time constraints, you know, with the 9 to 5 and all that. So we got 8.23 miles, 7:37 pace. By the way, shout out to the mayor. He's over there putting in work, cutting his grass the good old American way. Look at that, bang. But yeah, 8 miles around a 7:30, 7:40 pace. This is a solid shoe. Solid shoe. Definitely, in my opinion, my esteemed hobby jogger opinion, my trash opinion, I did this bit the other day. I don't need to do the whole bit again, but in my opinion, this is a better shoe, at least on the first run. Felt like a little bit of a better shoe than the Pegasus. It really feels similar to that, but I just think this Cushlon foam, for me, for the way that I run, the way that I like shoes to feel, it feels a touch more supportive, a little bit denser. Think more Light Strike Pro than Fuel Cell. So a little bit denser, a little bit more bounce to it when picking up the pace. And I wasn't picking up the pace a ton, but it feels like this shoe just stands up better to force than something like the Pegasus. So that might be why Ingebrigtsen loves this shoe, because I'm sure, he's a bigger guy, by the way. I think he's 6 feet, 6'1", I'm not sure, but he's a bigger guy. Of course, he's throwing down some serious pace, and I think this shoe might respond better to that pace, even at his normal everyday speeds, than something like the Pegasus. Now, the question next is, why wouldn't we be using, or why wouldn't our friend be using the Vomero versus the Zoom Structure 25? And I'm not exactly sure of that, but let's pop these shoes off and then we can do the full breakdown and maybe give you some hypotheses on that. So first day of summer, man, the kids are so excited. Mace is so excited to be on summer break, the 5-year-old. And the 2-year-old, he's just saying, summertime, summertime. I think the contagious, what is it? Oh, the enthusiasm is contagious. It's infectious. And this is a solid summer shoe. Look at this little bloop, vibrant green stripe right there. It's a good looking shoe. And yeah, I told you, I felt like there was some grippier nubs. You can see it has that classic Nike waffle pattern on the bottom here. Look at that. And yeah, this is a really solid foam. You can see I can push it in. I get some of that soft impact absorption, and then I was getting that bounce back. But yeah, nice summer training shoe here. I do not think this is going to be the last time that we run in this guy. All right, let's pop inside. I'll have to find somewhere inside to do this breakdown because the mare is just going absolutely ham. He's going ham over there. Going ham on that John Deere. Already told y'all this is my year, but I'm not a rapper. All right, guys, we're getting the wrap up live from the backyard today. Look at this, beautiful. The front yard, there is just too much sound going on here. So anyway, 8 miles in the Nike Zoom Structure 25, Jakob Ingebrigtsen's favorite training shoe. Now, I can see why he and other elites, other pro runners would gravitate toward this shoe over shoes like the Pegasus, like the Pegasus and the Vomero. And I was thinking out there in the front, I was saying, I'm not sure what the benefit of this is versus the Vomero, but then I realized that top layer of ZoomX is not going to be for everyone. And there's not a huge weight difference between this shoe and the Vomero. And so this is going to give a little bit more of a structured feel. It's right in the name, Zoom Structure. And with the density of the foam, feels like it responds really well to faster pace. So of course, key benefits of this versus some of the other Nike training shoes, that stability in the back. It was very stable back here. And I have to say, once we warmed up into the run, I didn't feel any discomfort. I didn't feel like the shoe was locking me down too much in the back. It was a nice, gentle kind of a hug. It's not that Ray Lewis experience. It was more like a puppy just clinging on to my foot this time. So I preferred the feel of this over something like the Puma Forever Run Nitro, more similar to something like the Vomero Pro or a neutral stability shoe. This does have more elements of prescriptive stability in here with how far this foam pushes up. I do not believe we have any sort of post, but with this foam cradling the foot, it was a very stable ride. Now, one thing I was impressed about is the foam in the back. Look at this. I've done the push test a few times, but I was impressed at how flexible the shoe was despite this being a stability shoe. So look at this. I can fold the shoe in half. We get some nice pop. We get some nice pep. We get a little bit of that, I don't want to say fuel cell feeling, but It's definitely not a soft fuel cell foam, but something like the New Balance Rebel, where you do have more flexibility, more control over the shoe. And Nike does have that. I've talked about this before. Their brand DNA, their brand characteristic, their identity is more of these classic, traditional, more flexible style shoes. I'm getting chewed by mosquitoes out here. It's crazy. I'm gonna get cholera or whatever it is. What is it called? Dysentery? No, it's not Lyme disease. Malaria. But what Nike does is builds these flexible, classic, traditional style shoes that give you more control. And this was a shoe that felt nimble. It felt controlled. It's not something like the Nova Blast, which I've described as a Xanax for your foot. This is almost like, man, these mosquitoes are brutal back here. That's why I don't do these wrap-ups. I'm not gonna continue with the drug metaphors, but this is a sharp feeling shoe. It doesn't dead the ride experience. It does give you some feeling up in the forefoot. And I think if you're used to overbuilt stability shoes, even something like the Puma Forever Run Nitro, that felt a little bit more built up. That felt a little bit harder to run in, a little bit clunkier than this. I felt very much in control of this shoe, and it was not an awkward ride at all. So first run in the Zoom structure here, I'm impressed with it. I'm definitely going to run in it again this summer. I'd love to do a head-to-head with the new Pegasus 41, but overall a solid pick, and might be my favorite, or definitely is my favorite traditional stability shoe that I've tried now. Liked it more than the Forever Run Nitro. I'd put it in the same category as the Vomero Pro, Saucony Endorphin Shift 3, and I'm now accumulating some of these more stable shoes. So it also might be interesting to compare this to the Nova Blast 4. Both shoes offer stability in a little bit of a different way, with that Nova Blast having a super wide base. And that was something that was nice about this shoe. It's not an overly wide, overbuilt base. It's just the right amount of width to provide support in the back without making it feel cumbersome. So nimble, decently lightweight feeling shoe. It's not the lightest on paper, but it feels light out there on the run. Overall, easy to run in package that reminds me of a combination of the Pegasus and Vomero. So good work, Nike Zoom Structure 25. I'm glad I could get some miles in this. Let me know what stability shoes or other shoes that I should try next. Who else's favorite daily trainer should I try that I haven't yet featured on the channel? As always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.